This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined today by the effervescent Dr. John Deloney. Right next to me, best-selling author and host of the Dr. John Deloney Show. You were not expecting effervescent, were you, John?
That's one of, besides stable and relaxing, that's the other word that people used to describe me.
Yeah, you're like a Tums, you know?
Exactly. I'm like a walking Xanax.
A balm to the soul.
That's exactly right.
Well, we are here to take your calls about life, money, mental health, relationships, boundaries, lack thereof. We are here to help you take the right next step for your life. Wherever you might find yourself, whatever is keeping you up at night, we want to help. So give us a call, 888-825-5225. Chris is kicking off this hour. He's in Los Angeles, California. Chris, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
My question is there ever a time when a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage loan would make more sense than a 15-year?
Great question. What is this a personal situation you're walking through right now?
It is. So my wife and I, we have about $200K gross income. Our debt is about $10,000 on one car. We have a 2.5-year-old daughter. We're maxing out our Roth IRAs. We're contributing to our 529, and I believe, with interest rates going up, we don't know, where they'll be in a few months, but I believe we could afford a 15-year mortgage loan. It'll probably be right at about 25% of our take-home income.
Okay.
But it doesn't really leave us much margin for anything else.
Chris, what's your car payment?
Yep. Car payment's $340 a month.
Would you have more margin if you had $340 a month extra?
We would.
So why don't we go ahead and pay off that car?
Should we just go ahead? So we do have 6 months emergency savings, and then we probably have a little bit additional. But we're thinking about doing a renovation in the house. We're not going to go overboard, but it is somewhat of a fixer-upper. So we want to do the renovation. And also to answer your question, our financial advisor said, a car, this was advice he gave us a few years ago before COVID. He said a car depreciates in value, so there's no point in paying it all off at once.
Fire your financial advisor today.
Yeah, and if instead of that financial advisor, just go find somebody who's sitting at a coffee shop and just ask them. They're going to be better advised than that advice.
This is
moronic.
So, Chris, here's the deal. You're doing Chris's plan, and I'm not mad at you. You're doing some great things. You're maxing out the Roth, the 529. You guys have a great income, but you're not doing the Ramsey plan, and that's okay. But if you want to do our plan, you got to pay off all of your debt before we get on the emergency fund, before we go to investing, and you can save up and pay for put a good down payment on this house and do it on a 15-year fixed. The 30-year loan is really a shortcut that leads to you paying a whole bunch more in interest. I mean, how old are you, Chris?
My wife and I were 38.
You're 38. If you get a 30-year mortgage today, you're buying a coffin. And if you do a 15-year, what I found, and this is based on actual data, the people following the Ramsey plan end up paying off their house in about 7 years. Now think about that. You are then 45 years old with a paid-for house, and you still have another 20 years of your working life where you have all of your income back at your disposal, your greatest wealth-building tool.
Hey, I want to circle back. Walk me through your financial advisor's advice here. Help me with this.
He was saying, so our interest on the car is, I don't know, it's like 3%. Mm-hmm. I think he was saying...
invest the difference and I can make you millions, right? Like the market's going to earn you 12%, so you're just throwing 9%
John, you'd be a
down
great
the toilet.
financial advisor. You sound just like him.
Here's where that's insane. You're paying a monthly payment against a depreciating asset. See what I'm saying? So every month, it's just nuts. It's just
You're paying more interest while the car is worth less and less.
and you're holding the exposure. So if you get fired, he's made his money on that gap by being able to sell more of his product to you, and you're the one holding the car note that you now watch get towed away out of your driveway. And so it's easy for him to say, well, that's stupid. You should float this, because he doesn't hold the other end of the bag if something goes sideways. And it's easy to say nothing goes sideways. Our whole job exists because things go sideways. I hate to tell you this, but it doesn't sound like y'all are in a position to buy to buy a home if your mortgage, if you can only do it at this, you're going to be so leveraged that you can't breathe. Don't do it, man. It's not worth it. Keep renting. And I know that stinks.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. With the 30-year mortgage, if we do have margin and then we have bonuses and whatnot come in end of the year, couldn't we apply that towards the principal?
Absolutely, you could. Listen,
even more?
100% you could. Our data tells us that 97% of people don't. They can't. Something comes up. Every month a thing comes up, or I want a thing, or we need to go somewhere.
And the bonus becomes a vacation and a new car instead of going towards the principal.
And so this is where this is less of a math problem. And there is a math problem. You're going to pay infinitely more in interest on a 30-year note. But this is a psychology problem, and this is just the human condition problem. That's why all these YouTube scammers who are like, bro, all you can do, no down, fun. They can do some mathematical gymnastics to make it work. But what we do is we sit with people that the wheels have completely fallen off, which is millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans. And we say, hey, I know the math looked good. That's just not how we're wired. And the companies know this. They wouldn't offer it if it wasn't going to make them a ton more money. And so, yeah, you could in theory. You're exactly right. 97% of people will not.
One more thing. Allow me to play devil's advocate.
Absolutely.
We do a 30-year, and so we have a little bit more margin, assuming that we'll go ahead and pay off our car, okay? You guys just said a recommended device. 30-year, and then we have a margin. We might think about having another kid, or the other car that's paid off. It's got 150,000 miles on it. We don't know how much longer it's going to last.
So here's what you're doing. You are paying for those other things with debt. You're just rearranging it so it's mortgage debt, not car note debt. See what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
You're paying another $400,000 on your mortgage to have a little bit of flexibility so you can buy a car in the right now. You're just trading debt for debt. See what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like you're in a place where you can afford a house right now.
Chris, you guys make $200,000. Let's do a budget. Let's figure out where all this money is going, and that will help you create the margin, not a 30-year loan. You got this, man. This is The Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality and host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast, joined today by Dr. John Deloney, host of the Dr. John Deloney Show. You can check all of those shows out on the Ramsey Network or wherever you listen to podcasts. Open phones this hour, 888-825-5225 is the number to call. We'd be glad to help you with any money issues, questions, thoughts, mental health, boundaries, relationships, you name it. We are here for you. Liz joins us up next. She's in Great Falls, Montana. Liz, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
We are doing great. How can we help today?
My husband owns a business, and every year around like this time and stuff, it just takes a little bit of time to get his tax paperwork sorted and everything. And I'm just really trying to help, but I kind of am starting to feel like I'm nagging him weekly, daily.
You're kind of feeling like you're starting to nag him, or you're nagging the crap out of him?
I feel like I'm nagging the crap out of him.
Okay,
but
all right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remind him to stay on top of it so it's not a big headache.
So I'm just reading into the sound of your voice that this is not just about this business, that you are tired of being his mother.
That too.
Do you nag him in other areas of life, or is it just his business and taxes?
It's mostly just more of the background business stuff.
Does he do his own taxes
and stuff? No, we've got somebody that will do them for us every year.
Oh, so he won't even get the receipts together and the paperwork together and the...
Yeah, it's just doing that stuff.
Huh. So what's the holdup?
I think procrastination in adding to what we already owe, or making that debt number grow.
Is he scared of what the numbers are going to be and what he's going to owe?
Yeah, maybe. I think so, because we already owe some, which we fully understand that we're working on.
So
down.
A lot of people think procrastination, and this is if you look up the dictionary, you don't even know what a dictionary is, do you, George? There are these thick books that used to have definitions in them.
I Google it now, John.
Yeah, you just Google it. If you Google the word procrastination, my face shows up, okay? So this is me talking from experience here. Most people think that procrastination is about avoiding doing something, about avoiding doing the thing, the taxes, and it's not. It's about avoiding the emotions that the action's going to kick back on you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so it usually, in my experience working with people and experiencing myself, it's an anxiety response. It is I don't want to feel what I'm going to feel when I get into this. And it could be, I don't want to get into writing this paper because it's going to pull me away from my kids. I don't want to get into these taxes because these numbers are going to reveal that my business is failing. And that means I'm a loser and I'm shameful, et cetera. So procrastination often for the person who's procrastinating isn't the problem. It's the solution to the problem. It's a way to avoid that negativity. And that doesn't help the wife because you're drowning, right? You're trying to prop this whole thing up. Is your business, your husband's business failing? Is it struggling?
No.
Okay. So what do you think he's hiding from? What do you think he's avoiding? What feelings?
I think the anxiety of adding to what we already have.
Do you guys have a lot of debt outside of that? Or business debt?
As far as the IRS, yes. And then we've got some other debt, but we're already working the snowballs. So I also have to remind us that it's more of a process and it's not going to happen or be done tomorrow.
Gotcha. So you guys already have IRS debt in your life. Mm-hmm. And so he's scared of adding to that.
Yes.
And so the head is in the sand just going, la, 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 let's just ignore it. It'll eventually go away. I'll deal with it another time, but not today.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a magic sentence that my wife and I sat down and had this conversation years ago. I did not understand the stress that my procrastinating things, and this is procrastinating getting ready for church on Sunday mornings. This is procrastinating getting the garden done so that we can get stuff planted. I just figured stuff's going to be fine. It'll be fine. We'll get there when we get there. But I didn't understand that when she walks into church 15 minutes late, she feels completely exposed. I had no idea. I didn't understand that 2 weeks after planting season has a dramatic effect 6 months later when the stuff grows up. Right? I didn't understand that because I just was kind of la-la-ing my way through life. And so it took my wife sitting down and having a hard conversation and direct conversation about her needs. When you do this, I feel disrespected. When you won't sit down and get this thing done, I feel like you're choosing to watch YouTube videos and just go for a jog over the financial stability of our family. And here's a line she came up to help with that we both developed to help me, okay? Here's the line. Don't forget to remember. Here's the deal. I will get out of my truck and I'll have the lunch wrapper and I'll have my water bottle that I've always got with me, my little Yeti here, and I'll have my CDs because I still drive a car from the 1400s, and I'll have all my stuff and I'll just leave it there. I'll start to get out of the car and I'll start to go inside and she will be on the front porch and she'll say, hey, don't forget to remember. And what she's telling me is not, hey, pick up all your crap, because then I take that as an attack. What she's saying is, hey, don't forget to remember how good it feels to get into a clean car on your way to work. Don't forget how good it feels when the taxes are finally done and you can stare at that number and then have a problem to attack. And so that number, that phrase has been a gift in our home, but she could only do that when she sat down and told me your needs. And I said, hey man, I'm tired of hurting you. I didn't understand that my actions were affecting you in this way. Let's work on healing this thing, right? So procrastination is no longer a solution in my house. It's become the problem because I've identified it as the problem. And now I'm going to swan dive into these problems and just get them done. And man, my professional life has benefited. My marriage is better. My parenting is better. All this stuff's better. But that's the best you can do, is have a conversation about how this affects you using I statements. Okay? And that's heavy and hard. And I know that's hard. And I don't hear in your voice that you think this is going to work.
There's been, I guess I feel like we've had a lot of those.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I'm keeping at it, just trying to just maybe articulate my words a little bit differently to see if that will help.
So I think that can be a problem. Don't dance on this one.
Okay.
Tell them, use I statements. This is how I feel. Not what you're doing.
Okay.
This is how this affects me. And let that be don't dance. Don't try to soft pedal it. This is a hard conversation, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to be 1 inch away and it's going to turn into 2 inches away. And then you're going to run into somebody at the office and they're going to pay attention to you and they're going to grab coffee for you when they're grabbing theirs. And you're going to slowly go, that person gets it. And then you're going to respond to the text and you're going to respond to the phone call, and all of a sudden you're going to find yourself in a mess. It happens gradually, bit by bit. Have the hard conversation. Jump right in the middle of this thing, and don't back down from it. This is how this feels to me. I'm asking you as your wife, stop hurting me. Stop hurting the kids. Stop hurting the household operation. Can you please make a commitment to not forget to remember? That's hard, George, when you're having these need conversations with your spouse, man.
The antidote to procrastination, I found, is discipline. You just do it even when you don't want to.
You swan dive into it.
Even when you don't want to.
Swan dive.
And so the IRS, you're not going to get them off their back. This is the worst type of debt. We put it at the top of the debt snowball for a reason. So you guys need to have some urgency here. Get rid of this IRS debt once and for all. Work with a good tax pro who can help you avoid ever going into IRS debt again. Maybe that's quarterly estimated payments, whatever you guys aren't doing right now. Pay off your consumer debt. Never look back. It's going to change your marriage and your relationship. I promise you that. Thanks so much for the call. Join us, 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
chaos. That's what it can feel like when your business is growing so fast you've outgrown your financial and accounting software. The faster you grow, the more likely you are to lose control of the numbers. And here's the reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's why we use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Over 28,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle, including Ramsey Solutions, because NetSuite gives us a single view of everything we need to make daily decisions. Whether you're making a few million to hundreds of millions a year, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control of the things you need to grow, like your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, all in one dashboard. Go to netsuite.com/Ramsey right now to get their free white paper. Jumpstart your CFO career.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Dr. John Deloney. Listen up, teachers. You guys are heroes. Every single day you give your students hope for their futures. And because of you, over 5 million students have gone through our Foundations in Personal Finance curriculum in 48% of schools all over the country. And you guys deserve to be recognized, and that's why we're celebrating you and teachers like you during National Financial Literacy Month with our Teacher Appreciation Giveaway, sponsored by Borrowed Future, our hit documentary about the dark side of the student loan industry. So, teachers can enter the giveaway today to win some incredible prizes, and 2 lucky teachers will win $5,000 cash each to use however they want. And 3 more teachers will win $1,000 cash, and there's more prizes where that came from. So don't miss out, teachers. Go to RamseySolutions.com/teacher for your chance to win, and tell any teacher in your life that you know and love. That's RamseySolutions.com/teacher. All right, John. So occasionally, as I'm on the internet, I stumble upon an article that I love.
You live on the internet.
I do live there. That is my zip code. And occasionally I find articles that I love that I think would make you angry. And so those are the ones I want to read on air.
Great. Let's do
You ready for the headline, John?
This sounds fun.
Just so America knows, John does not know what's about to hit him.
Absolutely no idea what's coming. Bring it.
Here's the title. Love is in the air, so is dander. On December 4th, 2021, Twixie and Cowboy, both 2-year-old Brussels Griffins, were married at the Dallas home of the bride, Twixie, in the backyard. She wore an appliqué lace bodice with a ruffle of layered tulle at the waist.
George, are these dogs?
The groom, I'm not done, John. The groom donned a handmade silk cotton tuxedo and top hat. Later, 4-legged guests enjoyed a meal of puppy chow from Vestal's Catering in Dallas, as well, get this, John, as a puppuccino bar and activities including a ball pit. The nuptials cost about $25,000.
What community was this in?
Dallas, your home state, John. Be proud. The
No.
two and their canines met at a Brussels Griffin hangout in February 2021.
Nope.
The dogs soon became boyfriend and girlfriend.
Nope, they didn't.
Miss Wilson, who handled the guest list, said that she and Mrs. Hellwig intended to throw the most epic dog wedding.
You know what I guarantee you is in that community? Hungry people.
And dogs. Hungry dogs.
And
which puppy chow was provided.
we have entered a tiny little vortex that we're not going to be in much longer, George, where we have more money and access to capital than we have sense.
I wish this was an April Fool's joke, but this is from March 16th from the New York Times.
Oh, gosh.
So, how do you feel about dog weddings, John? I think we need to put that out there because I think we're going to see more of them happen.
I think this show needs to be sponsored by Preparation H because I've got hemorrhoids now. I cannot believe... I didn't have the words for it. I don't even have the words for it. I don't...
Do you not believe in love for dogs?
I love
Can
my
dogs
dogs.
Find love?
Nope, they can't. They mate. They mate, George.
You want to? Can I add insult to injury?
The anthropomorphism here, like this is somebody living out a fantasy that clearly didn't happen in their life, and they are putting it on their poor dog. You know what that dog was thinking the whole time? Treat, treat, treat. And they said, sit. And the dog was not thinking, wow, she looks beautiful coming down the dog aisle. He was just thinking, treat, treat, treat. Don't pee, don't pee, don't pee, treat. That was it. That was all that was in that dog's head. And at one point when he was being squeezed into the tuxedo, he thought, I don't like my owner, but treat, treat, right? That's it.
You're
Why?
telling me you don't want to see those Instagram pics?
Nope.
Okay.
You know, I'd rather see people giving money to a food bank. I'd rather see somebody
don't
with
be that guy,
$25,000.
John. Just enjoy life, man. Can't people have some fun?
You're gonna get your little mutant dogs married, aren't you?
That's right. I've got 2 French bulldogs, but technically they're related. I feel like I don't know. I'm not gonna get them married.
They're super not related.
Insult
A,
to injury.
because they're dogs,
That's
and
fair.
B, they came from different litters.
Can I make you even angrier? We saw this ad that popped up. Someone sent it to me from Afterpay. Here's what it said. Let your fur baby say I do with Afterpay, which means you can now, it's right there on the screen, from matching outfits to snacks at the dog park reception, you can now pay off your pet wedding in 4 interest-free installments with Afterpay.
There's
Now,
no such thing as a pet wedding.
Here's the thing.
It's not a thing.
I don't know if that was an April Fool's joke, but I'm scared that it will become reality
listen,
if not.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as pet parents. You're pet owners. And listen, I love my dog. My wife had to have a talk with me about when we got married. And I told her, that dog was in my bed long before you were, right? Like, I loved my dog. I love my dog. The dog I have now, my dog Stella, is my ride or die, dude. I get it. But I'm a pet owner. I'm not a pet dad. I am, though, a human dad because I have human kids. And when they have weddings, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take human wedding photos. And we're going to throw human wedding rice. I don't know what we're going to do, but whatever they want to do. We're not going to throw...
So I'm guessing my dogs are not invited to your kids' weddings, and there will be no puppuccino bar.
There will not...
That's offensive, John.
You know what's offensive? Puppuccino. The
Okay.
people at Starbucks
All
are
right.
sad about that.
Listen,
What is a puppuccino?
It's fun. They just called it a puppuccino. If you go to Starbucks, fun fact, you have your dog, or if you don't, you ask for a puppuccino, and they give you a little cup of whipped cream, and it's a little treat for the dog, and it's called a puppuccino.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I can get
There's no
behind
need to
that.
get angry.
I don't think we need a puppuccino bar if it's just a can of Ready Whip. Right?
That's true. Spray it. Wow. Well, the only insult to injury there, John, is not only are dog weddings a thing, but now you can go into debt with buy now, pay later for a dog wedding.
So I'm kind of this eternal optimist. I just think things are going to work out. People are going to come together. And I get these shards of apocalyptic sightings, and these are one of those moments.
Where you go, it could all just come crumbling down.
I think it's crumbling down. And then by this afternoon, I'll be good to go. And then I'll see some young kid texting and driving, and I'll think, nah, it's probably going to come all down. Wow. And then somebody will send me a clip of this actual conversation that you and I are having about dog weddings. It's all coming
I'm pretty
down.
sure it's in Revelation, sign of the end times, dog weddings.
No, it's the Puppuccino.
That's what it is.
Chapter 4, verse 11.
Wow. Good times there, John. Well, I'm glad I upset you. Mission accomplished. And thank you to producer
you didn't
James.
actually. It's America. It's America, George.
Everything's upsetting you.
No, just don't. I don't understand.
It's fine, John. Let's get to the phones, man. No one wants to hear about dog weddings anymore.
You started it.
Okay, poor Danny. Danny is in Minneapolis. What's up, Danny?
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing great. How can we help?
So I'm currently reading the book Everyday Millionaires, and it sounds like a lot of these millionaires have built their wealth by contributing to their company's 401k plan.
Correct, 79%.
Yes, and I just received a job offer from a company who states that they have a wide variety of investment options available through the company's 401k plan, but they don't have a match. However, they have an ESOP, which is the company contribution of stock annually to my personal ESOP account.
Mm-hmm.
And they state that this ESOP is more valuable over time the longer I'm with the company. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on having a company have an ESOP instead of a 401k match, if I should look into that more before accepting the job offer.
Well, I wouldn't decline the offer because there's no match. You can still become a millionaire through your 401k with a 0% match. That's okay. The match is fun. It's a great bonus, but it sounds like you've got some stock options with the company as well on top of that that could be beneficial. They usually give it to you at a deal, right? Maybe 80% of cost?
Right.
something like that, and then you can cash that out every year. You can invest that money. I wouldn't hang on to the company stock just as its own investment because I don't like single stocks. If this company goes under, John knows all about Enron. He can tell you about that.
My mom worked at Enron, Danny, where one of their great things was how much company stock they gave back, and everyone's like, wow, until they all woke up one morning and it didn't exist anymore, right? And so putting all your eggs in one basket is just never a good investment strategy.
So invest your 15% into your 401k, and that's where I would start. And you don't need to worry about the match at this point.
Now, can I ask you this, Danny?
Yes.
Is there something else about this company that you're not interested in?
I'm just trying to weigh the options.
There you go. So usually when we say like, what about this little thing? That's a signal that the bigger picture is giving us indigestion. So go with your gut on this one. If it's not a place you want to work, then don't work there. But don't not work there just because of the match.
Yeah, good call there, John. This is The Ramsey Show. You're listening to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality, joined today by Dr. John Deloney. We are taking your calls about life, money, mental health, relationships, you name it. We are here to help. Mary joins us up next. She is in Fort Worth, Texas. Mary, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. How can John and I help?
Well, I have a question, and I hope it's a simple answer. So I have two boys. One is already in his second year in college away from home, and my second one is going to be graduating in May. He has decided to attend community college to avoid debt.
I love that.
With that said, I totally support him with that. With that said, I'm recently remarried for about a year, so my new husband feels that I sort of baby him, and he feels that once he graduates in May, that I should be starting to charge him rent. I'm not totally in agreement with that, but I don't know if that's just the mom in me saying that, or does he have, I guess, a good side of it that I'm not seeing?
I think we're conflating two separate conversations here. Okay. So one is the skin in the game, the kid's going to college, hey, you're an adult now and making adult decisions. Let's have adult conversations that are going to be different than we had when you're in high school. The other is your new husband saying, hey, I think you are babying this young man. And so it looks like they're the same conversation. They're not. One of these is I want our household to look a little bit different, and I want these boys to begin to grow up. And then the other is a business conversation. Do you get the difference there? So anytime somebody tells me that their romantic partner gives them this kind of feedback, my first question is always, are they right? Has your son, let me put it this way, how long were you divorced previously? Did your husband pass away?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I was divorced for about 9 years.
Okay. Can I ask you a really hard question?
Sure.
Did one or both of those boys help fill that gap, that space?
As far as not having like a partner during that time?
That's right.
I really would like to say no.
Okay.
I like to say that I treated both of the boys very equally.
Love it.
My older one is a little bit more like, I want to go do my thing, make my own decisions, and I supported him to do that. I did, give him the suggestion of as far as the school debt,
sure. But
at the end of the day, I did let him make his own decision.
So sometimes what I've seen over the years is when there's a home with divorce, let's say, and I'm just picking that out of the blue because you and I are talking, or I'm using that example because you and I are talking. There's some sort of parental guilt that they will try to extricate from the relationship by over-helping with one of the children, okay, or both of the children. I'm going to give you what you need. Sure, you can do this. Sure, I'll be there for you. Sure, I'm not going to miss any games. I'm going to try to backfill this hurt with all this other stuff. And I'm wondering, is that what your new husband is calling out?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Sometimes he'll make comments as far as like the chores he does, or as far as me asking my son to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, my son works, so I do provide him an allowance till he graduates.
Okay.
But as far as him asking me for expensive things, he doesn't really ask me for anything.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm missing something. I don't know if it has to do with the root he had as far as his childhood, or am I just really babying my son?
Well, so I think that's two different conversations. So I think you tell your husband, hey, you said that I'm babying him, and this is going to be a boundary conversation for your new marriage. Tell me more. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Because over the last decade, I've been by myself on my own. I've been doing my best to try to love these two boys. And I'd love your feedback, because you're a grown man. I'd love your feedback. Now we're entering into a tell me more conversation that's not going to be, no, I'm not, yes, you are, no, I'm not, right? So that's number one. Number two, in fact, before this call even came in, George and I just happened to be talking about this earlier today off air. I think there's several ways to approach the rent conversation, should you pay into it? My friend Mike, his dad, had a great a suggestion that I loved. He just sat down when Mike graduated college and said, hey, you get 6 months rent-free. You can cash it in over the course of your adult life. And he was like, all right, cool. And so he lived the first month after he graduated, and his dad came in and goes, 5 left. And he's like, oh, you mean like, and he's like, yep. I mean, so here's the important thing. It's setting boundaries. It's setting very, very clear. Here's my expectations. You can live rent-free for 1 year, and then we're going to charge you $500 a month. You got to get a job, or we're going to charge you rent out of the gate. I think however y'all do that, the important thing is that you have very clear boundaries with time deadlines on them, with responsibilities, with if you're going to live in this house, you still have to come home at midnight. Whatever y'all want to do, it's the messiness and the all-over-the-placeness that just wrecks relationships. George, what do you think?
Yeah, I just think having those ground rules in place is going to be key. Whether or not you charge them rent or not, I still want ground rules, and I want to know what the exit strategy looks like. Is this 10 years or is it 6 months?
It can't be extended high school.
Exactly. So I think as long as he's working a job, I think there's nothing wrong if you want to charge him a little bit of rent, give him a taste of what adult life is going to be, because he's going to have a payment like that to factor into his budget. And so maybe you say, hey, what are your financial goals? Great. Here's the agreement. You're going to live here, but you're going to build the emergency fund. You're going to start investing. You're going to save up that down payment, whatever that looks like. Let's have a goal for why we're doing this.
And here's what else I love. I would love your new husband to be a part of this, because this is half his house too. And so I want him to be a part of setting the ground rules for the home that your son is going to choose to live in after he graduates high school. So he's going to talk to both of you. This isn't going to be the side deal between son and mom that you're going to try to go pitch to your new husband. Everybody's going to be in the room so that your new husband can say, my expectation is fine. I'm going to give you a year rent-free here. You will do the yard. You will help with the light bill. Whatever those are going to be. And again, that's it's almost a business transaction, if you would. Of course, it's your son and all that. But this is how would we approach this from a business angle? The other conversation is, hey, this is a broader picture you see of me and how I interact with my loved ones. It's going to impact your marriage. That's a different conversation that I really want y'all to have. But thank you so much for that call.
Yeah. How does that sit with you, Mary?
It is another way to look at it, to be honest. I really didn't think about having a meeting with all three of us and really seeing. And I like the part that you shared where, it's part of being an adult. So that is a good way to definitely look at it. Thank you for the feedback.
You got it. Thank you so much for loving your son, man. That's fantastic.
Good
and
stuff.
Congrats on your new marriage.
Yeah. This is a big one, John. Parents are dealing with this, and especially millennials. There's a sandwich generation who's dealing with the kids are still at home, but I'm also trying to take care of maybe my elderly parents. And when you add debt to all of that, it creates a mess. And so the best thing you can do is have the financial discipline in place. And it sounds like he went to community college to avoid debt, which I love. Now, if he was strapped with debt and he was like, Mom, I'm broke and I got to live here, it's a different situation.
Right. Well, and sometimes kids do the math and they're great at it, right? They'll sit down. He probably sat down with a spreadsheet and said, I can go to this community college, I can get these classes, do this much, and it's going to cost me this great. but they don't factor in the cost of being alive, right? And being alive is expensive these days.
The cost of being alive sounds like a great book title.
It's expensive, right?
Yeah.
And so the cost of being alive right now is rent and insurance and cell phone and all these other things. And so every family does it differently. A friend of ours, their oldest daughter just got married and was like, hey, I'm going to buy a new car. And he's like, good, this is a good time for you to call the insurance company, right? And by the way, what you doing with that cell phone now that you're going to be married? Some people wait till then. Some people, as they're graduating high school, sit down and say, all right, here's what's going to look like the next 5 years. You're going to go to college. We're covering tuition. You're going to pay. But it's all about that hard conversation.
Yeah.
And you got to have it. Otherwise, it ends in messy. You don't love me. You never. And you're like, I gave you everything. It's just stop all that.
Yeah.
Have the hard conversation.
And the worst thing you can do as a parent is you let them go into adulthood because you were, trying to take care of them and cover every single bill, and they go, wait, how much is insurance? What is gas? Oh my goodness, I had no idea how much life costs. And so the sooner our kids can learn that, the better. And that's why I'm excited about a personal finance curriculum that's in high schools, because kids are going, oh, I learned this stuff now before it's too late.
Right. Or before I got thrown into the deep end of the pool, right?
Yeah. Good stuff there. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Dr. John Deloney, all the folks in the booth keeping the show afloat, and you, America. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back with you before you know it.
Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show.
This is The Ramsey Show.
You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life, your money, your relationships, your mental health, right in front of you. That's what we're here for. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Dr. John Deloney. Open phones this hour, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Ryan's kicking off this hour. He's in Cleveland, Ohio. Ryan, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Thank you. How are you?
Great. How can we help?
So this is a pretty open-ended question, but I'm trying to figure out how I decide my next financial goal. And I guess more specifically, how do I change or maybe pause my investing to achieve whatever goal that might be?
Wow. Okay, so you're pretty familiar with the baby steps, I assume.
Yes. I've read through the book, and I'm vaguely familiar with them, but it's been a little while, honestly.
So what are your goals, man? What are you trying to accomplish?
So that's the hard part, because I'm very, very fortunate right now to have no debt. I have a pretty good income I'm 23, fresh out of college. And right now I've just been focusing on investing for retirement. So I've maxed out my Roth already this year, and now I just have income to put towards something. And it feels wrong to not just invest all of it. But at the same time, I might be considering getting a home at some point. So, you know, there's a down payment to consider. I'm not really sure.
Okay. What's your income?
It's most likely going to be somewhere between about 60 and 80 this next year for 2022.
Okay.
Pre-tax.
Do you have an emergency fund in place of 3 to 6 months of expenses?
Yeah, I've got $7,500 saved up for my emergency funds.
Great. And how much are you investing percentage-wise right now? You said you're maxing out the Roth, so I assume not quite 15%.
Yeah, I've looked at the last few months, and it's come to more close to about 30 to 33%.
That of your income is what you're investing?
Yeah, I believe so. Unless my numbers are wrong, but yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Well, once you max out that Roth, that puts you, what, 6,000?
Yes. Yep. So I hit 6,000 last month for my Roth, and
which is about 10% of your income. But it sounds like you're kind of front-loading. You're putting a lot of money from each paycheck right now. But once you max that out, correct, what are your other retirement investment options? Do you have one through your employer?
So, I don't have any 401k options. I work with a small business. So I don't really have many other retirement options unless I open up like a traditional Roth or something like that, as far as I'm aware of.
Well, yeah, there's no traditional Roth. It's either traditional IRA or a Roth IRA.
Traditional IRA, correct.
Okay. Well, if you max out the Roth, that's going to be it for the year on the IRA side. But there are other options, taxable brokerage accounts, things like that, where they won't be tax advantaged, but you can invest and pay taxes on it when you take it out. So as far as financial goals, you told me you want to get a house. And so my next goal, if I'm in your shoes, debt-free with an emergency fund, is getting a big house down payment saved.
Yeah. Now, how? I guess I'm struggling with how do I save up a down payment and adjust my investment strategy for that? Because I guess I kind of view it as I could always just throw a bunch of money into a brokerage fund and choose a safe-ish investment, and then when I buy a house with that money. But of course, there's always risk with investment. So if the market's down,
Well, when it comes to that kind of risk, I like a longer time horizon. So if you're saying, hey, I don't need a house in the next year or two, I'm looking at 3-5 years from now, then I'm okay with you putting some money into those types of accounts to invest, because you can ride that out. And if you have patience and you don't have a level of urgency, then you're going to be okay, and your investments will grow. Who knows with this market, but you can grow 8, 9, 10, 11% if the market gets back up to where it was.
Right. Okay.
So that's what I'd be doing in your shoes. Just start investing 15% of every paycheck into whatever options you have. Right now, it sounds like the Roth IRA is your best option. Beyond that, you're not going to have a ton because you don't have an employer retirement plan, but you can invest in a taxable brokerage account, maybe in some index funds, and park the money there as you save up for the house.
And Ryan, can I give you one more little nugget to put in your back pocket?
Please do.
You can do 3 things with money. You can save it, you can spend it, or you can give it. Make sure you're planning for the future. You're doing you are so far ahead of 95% of people we talk to, me included, okay? You're way down the road. It took me about 15 or 20 years to get to the financial position you're in, okay? But make sure you enjoy your life. You're 23, okay? Go have fun. Go to a concert, hang out with people, go somewhere, right? See what I'm saying? Enjoy some of that money and start a habit, an identity of generosity. Once a week, once a month, tip somebody out of their mind. Give to your local church if you go to one. Find ways that you can invest and give back to your local community. Make that a part of who you are, okay? And that's one of those legacy shifting. You'll change your family tree with the spirit behind which you deal with your money, okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate the advice.
You got it, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for the
Congratulations.
call. Great reminder there, John. A lot of young people out there, they're very focused on investing, and I love that young people are even excited about this. It's so cool. But to your point, we can get so far down the rabbit hole of what the next big investment is and the get-rich-quick scheme in crypto and NFTs, and we forget to just live our lives. So what I love about our plan is we say invest 15%, and you'll be a millionaire. Yeah. If you do that consistently over a long period of time.
Pay your house off.
Not invest every single dime you can and not spend a dime and don't do anything else. You got to live your life.
Yeah.
There's other things along the journey that you've got to be thinking about. And when it comes to investing, I invest. I love talking about money. I love financial topics, but we also need to enjoy ourselves. And my wife is like, "Hey, we haven't been on vacation in a long time." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we should do that too."
Well, and I come from a home we didn't have a lot. Right. And money was a stressor for us. And so I have a continue to loop on the story that this is all going away and this is finite. And so I'm having to work hard in a season we're in a season of blessing right now. Hey, yes, we're trying to crush the house mortgage. We're trying to do this. Take your wife on a 20th anniversary. Good God, dude. What do you do? Right. Buy a car that runs. Right. And so I have to talk to myself and let myself know, hey, we're following the principles, we're okay.
How do you balance that mentality? Because there's one side that says, YOLO, we're going to live forever, we'll figure it out later, let's just do what we want right now. And there's another side that is this is all going to come crumbling down tomorrow.
I think there's two, it depends on what side of the coin you're on. If you owe somebody else money, that's an emergency. It's danger, Will Robinson. It is not time for YOLO. It is time to stop everything and get that done. When you get to zero, You owe nobody anything. You have an emergency fund, so not if, but when the things go wrong, you are able to deal with it. That's when you have to exhale and say, tell yourself, and you have to practice this, I'm not in danger anymore. Now it's about giving, it's about living, it's about saving, it's about planning, and it's about looking at that beautiful wife and saying, hey, let's go do something fun. It's about looking at that guy who looks like he's rubbing 2 pennies together to eat that meal. I got this for you, my brother, right?
Yeah.
It's you're able to live a different kind of life because you're not running for your life anymore.
Ooh, mic drop moment there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. More of The Ramsey Show coming up. Give us a call, 888-825-5225.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined today by Dr. John Deloney, and we are taking your calls. John, we're about to head back out on the road. It's been a dry spell. We have not been in front of a lot of people, and I'm super pumped that we are headed to Dallas, Texas, your home state. Saturday, October 22nd, a jam-packed arena filled with people ready to experience what it means to live life to the fullest. This is all of the Ramsey personalities together on stage. We're like the Power Rangers, but cooler somehow.
I'm going to strongly disagree.
Okay.
You do run around with spandex a lot backstage.
My skinny jeans have been considered spandex scientifically.
You are the denim Power Ranger.
Aside from that, we're going to empower you with tools and principles to create unstoppable momentum in your life. The event is Smart Conference, and we are super pumped. That's Saturday, October 22nd. It's been 3 years since we've done this event, and we're pumped to bring it back. Headlining speakers include myself, Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, and Christina Ellis. Plus, we've got special guests Craig and Amy Groeschel from Life Church. They're going to be joining us talking about marriage. You don't want to miss this. This is just one packed day. We're going 8 to 5, drinking from the fire hydrant, practical advice from leading experts on money, personal growth, leadership, mental health, career. And this is not just a pep talk. You're not just going to learn things. We're going to have a great time. Tickets start at just $39. Full day event for $39.
If anybody's worried, we actually will not be drinking from the fire hydrant, but from the hose.
Maybe both. We
Probably
don't know
not.
yet.
Nope.
Okay.
Probably not.
All
Probably
right.
not. And another thing, this is throwback to another segment we did earlier. We will not be leaving the Smart Conference to attend yet another dog wedding in
No
Dallas,
Puppuccino
Texas.
bar.
Nope.
All right. Good to know.
There will not be.
Well, if you want to see John shame me publicly on stage, come join us for Smart Conference, October 22nd, full day on a Saturday. Man, it really is. It's my favorite event that we do. If there's people in your life, you want to introduce them to the Ramsey plan, this is the event for them. You get a taste from all of our speakers for just $39. Get your tickets now before they sell out. RamseySolutions.com/events. All right, Luke joins us up next. He's in St. Louis. Luke, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. My question is, how do I build credit without going into debt? Because I know and being able to afford a car and a house and stuff like that.
Sure.
Why do you want to go into
where's this coming from?
Why do you want to build credit, man?
Oh, well, I'm looking to buy a new vehicle and eventually get a house. So, and I know that our current society is full of you can just finance everything.
You can. Does it mean you should?
No.
All right.
So Luke, let me put it this way. If you saved up, how old are you, and how much do you make right now?
I'm 18 and I make about $2,000 a month.
Okay, $2,000 a month. How much margin do you have? Do you live with your parents?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any pressure from them to build credit?
A little bit, yeah. They want me to get like a credit card and stuff in order to help build it.
Well, here's what I found. I purchased my last car in cash, and I didn't need a credit score because I paid in cash. So the only reason you need a credit score is to go into debt. And if you follow our plan, you've decided to take debt off of the table, and we figure out another way. We have diligence. We have patience. We're going to save up over time and buy that car when we can, and it's going to be a reasonable car. We don't need to go out getting a $35,000 car with payments at 18 years old.
And then when it's time to buy a house, there's a special type of mortgage you can get that, or it's a special kind of underwriting process. The mortgage is the same. And they work with you specifically if you have a credit score of 0, but you have a history of handling money well. Because your credit score is just a score on how well you dance with debt. Has nothing to do with how wealthy you are and how you handle your money.
Okay.
So, Luke, I'm going to give you some homework. You're going to go listen to the Fine Print podcast, and I did this episode called The Dirty Truth Behind Your Credit Score, where we unpack every single facet of the credit industry, what your credit score is made up of. Spoiler alert, it all involves debt. And I talk with mortgage experts about how to do this. And I'll tell you, Luke, I did this myself. So this is from personal experience. I got my last mortgage that is now paid off using manual underwriting, using what's called a no-score loan. And what they do, it's real old-timey. They look at your actual financial picture.
Stop it, George. That's madness.
So you show them, like, I don't know, your utility payments, and they show them your income, and you show them your W-2s and your tax returns, and they go, okay, I think Luke he's gonna be able to pay this loan back. We'll go ahead and give them this loan. And so that's what I did, Luke, and it's possible. And let me tell you, it was 8 years without a credit score, and it's going to dwindle away soon because I just paid off my house, and I don't miss it. And not once when I'm renting a car, getting a hotel room, I have not run into issues with the credit score.
And Luke, I want you to hang on the line. Kelly's going to send you a copy of Dave's Total Money Makeover. And you're 18 years old. I want you to read it cover to cover. And it's going to give you the why behind why we tell you what to do. And it's going to give you a step-by-step how to do this. You're 18. You're about to start having to make grown-up decisions. And we want you to set you off on the right foot.
Thanks for the call, Luke. Appreciate it, man. Brett is in Aiken, South Carolina. He's joining us up next. Brett, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
What's up?
Today. Yeah, I'm calling today. I'm 28 years old. Just got my first really, good paying job. Doubled my salary.
Awesome. And
we are still on step 2 of paying off our debt. We have a bit, but my wife, she has anxiety. She's on medicine, but the thought of having less than $10,000 in our savings account really makes her anxious.
Okay.
How would you recommend I pay off the debt we have while finding this balance with my wife's anxiety?
The anxiety circling around that dollar amount is not related to the dollar amount. It's related to a story or a narrative that her body's responding to. So when people, most of the time, not always, most of the time, anxiety results from being amongst people or disconnected from people. It's a relationship issue. It's your body sounding an alarm that we are disconnected from relationships, or we're unsafe in relationships, or somebody finds himself unsafe, which is a perspective she holds right now, or they're in a situation where they have no control. People who owe other people money, it doesn't surprise me that their bodies ring the anxiety alarms because they're not safe. Right? They're a few little moments away from being in a mess, right? Really what we need to sit down and do is get to the heart of the anxiety issue. And it's less about the dollars and it's more about how can she feel safe in her own body. It may be we have to compromise here. It may be, hey, tell me what this $10,000 is going to buy you or it's going to save us from. And then let's talk about, here's the math. Here's how we're going to start. Right? So it's a big, full picture, but this is about healing connection. This is about healing safety. This is not about trying to stumble into a dollar amount. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
So circle back to her. Here's your homework assignment. Circle back to her. And I'm going to hang on the line. I'm going to send you 2 copies of my book, Redefining Anxiety. It's really thin, and y'all can read it together. And it's a reframing of anxiety, okay? But here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down tonight, not talking about dollars, not talking about cents. I want you to say, I want to start doing a better job of meeting your needs here at home. I want to start doing a better job of helping you feel safe. Would you do me the honor? It's not sexy. It's not how Hollywood writes it up. Would you do me the honor of giving me 5 to 10 things, and you can think about it, write them down for me? These make me feel loved. These make me feel safe. And for my wife, it's chit chat, dude. It is chit chat. I just want you to sit at the table when I'm doing stuff and just talk to me about whatever. And I think, man, we could be using this time so much more productively. Chit chat. Or it might be, hey, would you just, when you walk through the kitchen, if there's a dish in the sink, will you just grab it and drop it in the dishwasher for me? Will you just hold my hand when you wake up in the morning before you jump out of bed and run to the gym? It's little things like that that suddenly create an ecosystem of, and that body goes, we're safe now. I don't have to sound the anxiety alarms. Yeah,
that money in the bank with a pile of debt on the other side is an illusion of safety.
That's right.
We need real safety, which
safety.
is getting out of debt, getting the emergency fund in place. So let's get a plan together. Let's approach that, do the baby steps, and you will have true financial peace.
She's lucky to have you, brother.
This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined today by Dr. John Deloney. And in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Tyler joins us. What's going on, Tyler?
What's going on? I'm having a great time. How about you guys?
Good. So I assume you're debt-free.
Apparently I am.
We love to see it. Okay, where are you from?
I'm originally from Massachusetts, but currently I live in the Orlando area in Florida.
Very cool. Okay, so let's talk about this debt. How much did you pay off?
$86,015.
Woo! 86. That 15 is what really gets you.
That's right.
Wow. How long did this take?
That was the 2 Chick-fil-A meals you had to have, didn't you?
Sorry about that. No, I started in December 2017 through December 21, so 48 months.
Awesome. Okay, and what was your range of income during this time?
Started at $61,000, ended at $88,000.
61 to 88.
What do you do for a living, dude?
I'm a transportation engineer for a consulting firm in Florida.
Okay, can I ask you a hard question?
Let's hear it.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Well, I think at the root of it, what it means is I'm part of a team that looks to help develop communities to be places you want to drive to and not through.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a good tagline.
I love roundabouts, and I love roundabouts.
You should put that on a T-shirt. You love roundabouts.
Wow.
I call those little cuss circles, but good. I'm good. I'm glad you have them. Awesome, man.
So tell me about this $86,015. What kind of debt was this?
Yeah, so $46,000 of that was undergrad student loans principal. Another $10,000 was interest I paid between the private and federal loans.
Fun.
And then $30,000 was my car.
Wow.
When I walked across the stage when I graduated with my master's, I didn't take in on any debt. When I got my master's degree, I got a full ride. But when I walked across that stage, that was about $75,000 I had.
Wow. And you had this car. What kind of car was this?
It was a Ford Fusion.
And you still have it today?
Still have it, all paid off. Got the title and everything in the mail.
Drives different now, doesn't it?
It does.
Awesome.
A little bit lighter.
So, 48 months ago, I mean, that's a pretty long time to slog through this. What got you started on this journey? How'd you get connected?
Yeah, so something I've come to realize is sometimes you don't even know that you're on the journey. When I started paying off the car immediately, and then I had my student loans start, 6 months after you graduate, I was paying them off. I was late 2018, early 2019. I did a little bit of math. I'm an engineer, so I've got to do a little bit of math. And I found that I had paid about $9,000 towards my student loan debt, but only $2,000 had come off of the
principal.
It's a knife to the soul, man.
And when I did that, I was like, I don't know about that. Something's got to change. And my father said, "Have you ever heard about Dave Ramsey?" I was like, "Dave Ramsey, I think I've heard the name." And he's like, "Well, you've got to start listening to him. And you got to get his book. You got to do all this stuff." I'm like, "All right, Dad, you've taught me a few things, so we'll try this too." Got his book. I read it, and I was like, wow, this actually like really lays out the best way I can possibly get out of this. And then from there, and I was already making bigger than minimum payments, but I went all out. You're talking about any bonus, any extra pay, anything I could do went towards that debt.
Wow.
Dude, that's number one, no kid listens to their dad.
I know.
So kudos
that's the most
to
impressive
you, man.
part.
Good dad.
And two, wow, so you went all in. So this was music to your engineering heart, right? A simple laid out plan.
Oh yeah.
Let's just walk down this road and get
Absolutely.
it done.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite moments of the whole journey was July 2020. When the Feds had suspended the interest rates, I still had Sally Mae hanging out with me, and I paid her off in July 2020, got rid of her. And now I had the rest of my federal and the car, and I got rid of that this last December. So
that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And every day there's a new headline. Is it going to be paused? Is it going to? And you're thinking, I don't care.
Yeah, that was one of the things. That just yesterday they extended it, but at this point I don't have to worry anymore.
That's so good.
That's so great. So out of all the things that are involved with a journey like this, what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Discipline. Absolutely discipline. Sticking to a plan. There's a little quirky thing about me. Maybe it's because I'm an engineer. I don't know. But I have this notebook at home, this big master notebook. And about every month I sit down and I write down every single thing about my money, my finances to the cent. And I go through and I actually write down on paper, no computer, just on a piece of paper. And I go through exactly what's going on, where all the money's going. And I figure that out every single month on paper.
Oh, so you don't have a home for every dollar. You have a home for every cent.
Yeah.
That's an engineer right there.
That is an engineer.
Wow. So this is real talk. I interviewed Jocko this morning, and we were talking about discipline equals freedom. And I was connecting with me with all the money principles we have. And he said financial discipline will get you to financial freedom. And that's exactly what you did by following this proven plan. And that's what you needed. You just needed something to aim at and a plan to do it.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly how I would characterize it.
Wow, that's incredible. We're so proud of you, man. Do you have any cheerleaders that were with you along this journey?
Oh, absolutely. My wife, Mattia, has been there for me. My parents, Paul and Vicky, absolutely. I've had plenty of coworkers, family, friends who've been there, listened to me, hear what everyone has to say, and I went forward and I did it.
Wow. Can I ask you a hard question? And it's not hard in the math sense. It's hard in the existential sense. There's something about you're a graduate student, you've got a degree in engineering, you're serving your community, you're doing good stuff, you're making great money. You live in you have a home, you live in a home?
Apartment.
Okay, so you live in an apartment. There's something about rolling up to that job with those coworkers, with that pedigree, in a Ford Focus. And it's Fusion, my bad. And you roll up and they all look at you and go, "Oh, what are you doing?" How would you coach somebody who's like, "Man, I just feel like my car sticks out in the parking lot where I work"?
Well, yeah, I don't have the Tesla yet, I guess, right? But I think the best way to put it is something my dad would say, which is you need a car to get from A to B.
Oh, yeah.
And I plan on keeping that car until it can't drive anymore.
And so
yeah.
the meta is, I don't care.
No.
Right? I don't care. She loves me. My dad loves me.
Yeah, exactly. My
I don't
mom
owe
loves
anybody.
me. A lot of people love me, so it's all good.
It's so beautiful, man.
So when did you get married?
March 19th, a few weeks ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, so you're in it now.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, let's get
Awesome
her
way.
up there. Mattia, you want to come on up? We've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you. That's Dave's best-selling book, and it's the next chapter of your story, especially as newlyweds now. It's so awesome.
I'm so excited to read it.
Oh, you're going to love it. It's going to inspire you along the journey, because it's a long one now. You did the hard work, and this is 4 years. Now this is about the next 10, 15, 20 years as you guys build this amazing life together. And we're going to give you a copy of The Total Money Makeover, the book that got you started. Maybe you can get one of these engineer knuckleheads who's playing around with some debt and go, hey, man, here's a proven process. Here's how I did it when they start asking.
Yeah.
Well, you're awesome, man. We're proud to have you guys. And Mattia, of course, now your biggest cheerleader as you've completed this journey. It's Tyler, all the way from the Orlando, Florida area, $86,015 paid off in 48 months, making $61,000 up to $88,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
And just like that.
It was
another
a very
one of the
engineering,
books.
an engineering debt-free scream.
He did what he needed to do.
We're debt-free. That's right. That's right. Incredible, man.
Man, this gets me pumped. And this is what I want, John, for everyone listening out there. At some point in the process, you have to decide if you're a financial genius who's broke or if you're going to follow a proven plan. And a lot of us out there, we're figuring it out. We're great at debt management. We're moving the 0% interest card to this card. We got 17 cards. We're getting our cash back, and we're like, we're winning. And yet we go to bed with anxiety every night.
We don't sleep. Our body's beating a drum inside of us going, hey, get back up.
You're not safe.
Wake up. We're not okay. Right?
And at some point, you got to decide, okay, George's plan is not crushing it. What if we try this plan over here? And it's not because we're so amazing and so smart. We've just found that it works.
It's
and
the
10 million
opposite.
people have done it.
Works. One thing that nobody in the financial space can say is, what my thing is 100% foolproof, and this one is.
If you do it. If you go all
just
in.
do it every single time.
If you go ish, you're going to get ish results.
Right.
But if you go all in and you go gazelle intense, I'm getting the second job, the third job, I'm selling everything that's not tied down that has dust collecting on it, I'm going to do this plan, and I'm going to do it right. The results are there. It's incredible.
Every time.
I love it. Well, we're pumped for Tyler and Mattia. Debt freedom is on the other side, folks. You can get there. Tyler did it. You can too. This is The Ramsey Show.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, Ramsey personality and host of the Fine Print and Entree Leadership Podcast, joined today by best-selling author and all-around good guy, Dr. John Deloney.
I agree.
There we go.
I
We
agree.
agree on something, finally. Well, our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Their 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, as John and I tend to do, they will remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every single month, you'll save even more. Just use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Rose. Do you think she could have, Leo could have fit on the door?
100%, yeah.
No question. Leo could have fit on the door.
That's for another day.
Another day. All right, today's question comes from a different Rose in Arkansas, not carrying the heart of the ocean. She asks, my husband is on a second kidney transplant and is a stay-at-home parent with our 2 kids. I work full-time, and we're on baby step 3. I've asked my husband multiple times to get life insurance. He refuses and says it's a scam. I have insurance on myself for him and our kids. He thinks I should invest the money we spend on his life insurance so it will grow. I'm the nerd and take care of all finances and goals. He agrees and just goes with what I've been learning and growing from. I've shared my fears with him because he has been near death many times. What can I do to help him see the big picture?
There's multiple questions in here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in here.
I don't love that you're just taking care of all the finances and goals, and he just goes along with it. And then when he doesn't like it, he just disagrees. We've got to be more on the same page about our whole financial plan.
There is this is heartbreaking. It's common, but when one spouse, husband, wife, whoever, has multiple health issues and is reduced, unable to go find purpose and meaning in their work, it can be a hard transition to purpose and meaning finding at home. And this is men and women, husband, I don't care who it is. And the word that comes to mind here that is scary because it has a lot of negative connotation to it and a lot of mental health challenges to it is this idea of burden. I'm a burden. Y'all would be better if I wasn't here. So stop putting money aside for me. Y'all do this. I'm already dragging you down enough, right? I'm already hurting everybody just by still being here, right? Second kidney transplant. This is a household full of heartbreak. This is a household full of trauma. This is a household that has lost trust in his body. This is a lot going on here. And this is a wife who's at the end of her rope. She's scared, she's tired, she's lonely, and she just wants him to love himself as much as she does, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And here's the heartbreaking thing. You can't make somebody do that. And it just stinks, man. It's really, it's hard.
Now, on the financial side, let's talk about this idea that life insurance is a scam.
Right.
He's partially right because there's so many terrible life insurance products out there, especially in the whole life, the cash value world. And so the only one we recommend is term life. Now, I don't know his whole health picture. I don't know how easy it's going to be for him to get term life. There are situations when you can get term life after having a kidney transplant, but they're going to be asking some follow-up questions. Was it kidney failure? What was the circumstances leading up to it?
And it's going to be expensive.
And it'll be more expensive.
That's right.
But is it still going to be worth it? Yes. And is term life going to be astronomically cheaper than any other kind of whole life policy? Yes. Can you invest the difference and still do your investing? Yes, but I want you to keep your insurance as insurance, your investments as investments, and that's why I hate whole life insurance. So get in touch with our friends at Xander Insurance. They can walk you through the process, shop around all of the top companies all over the country, and try to get you the care that you need. But he has to care first.
Right, and here's an important, the natural question here is this. I'm not making any money, so there's no money to replace here, so we don't need life insurance on me. You spouse, you wife, you husband, whoever, you're making all the money. There's no reason to have money on me. And what I would say here is he's a stay-at-home parent. They got 2 kids. If he was to die today, she's going to have to come up with money to replace that, right?
Yeah.
And so it might not be the full 10x salary and all that, but you need to put something away. I've got much more life insurance on me than my wife does, right? She stays at home right now. She's got some side businesses at home, but she stays at home. I'm going to have to get some help if she were to pass away. Yeah. I'd have to get a lot of help, right?
Probably multiple people.
But my salary pays our bills, and so we have more insurance on me because that's going to be a harder hit. We need to keep the lights on, right? And so it might be different. It might be the scale may be different. And here's where this gets hard, George, and we see this a lot when people are struggling. He's partially right, as you mentioned. Some life insurance is a scam. You don't have any salary to replace, so why are we even doing this? I am a burden. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And we can get focused on that. We can get locked in on the negative side of this. Let's look to the other side of this thing, right? And I'll tell you, brother, I don't even know your name. I'm going to tell you this. Yes, you've had some medical challenges. Yes, you've had some rough stuff. You're worth taking care of yourself. You're worth being loved. You're worth being the parent to these 2 beautiful little kids. And it's time for you to look in the mirror and say, I'm worth standing up and healing. 2 different people have given a kidney for you. I'm gonna make meaning of this thing. I'm gonna live into the gift I've been given twice now. And I'm gonna rise above this stuff, okay? And that's a hard conversation to have, but it's time to stand up and get after it. Okay?
Yeah, good reminders. And great reminder for stay-at-home parents that you need life insurance too.
Yeah.
We always recommend that because you got to hire Mary Poppins if something happens.
That's right. You got to.
And we get a lot of calls, and people are going, childcare is astronomical. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know. To have to hire someone to do all that and all the other things around the house, not just childcare. There's a lot going on there. So make sure that you have insurance to replace that income. Good stuff there from John. While we're on this topic, John, a lot of calls today have played into this idea of your new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trauma out there. People are going through a lot of hard things. And what I love about this book is it's not just for people who have deeply traumatic experiences. This is a book for all of us who've experienced some level of something over the course of our lives. And I'm really excited about this book. It feels like we're just days away, right?
Yeah, it's April 19th. It's still in pre-sale, and you still get all the great things that come along with it. But it hits the streets, hits the stores. April 19th. So I was in an interview today, and I had this thought. In this book, I follow my story, right? I walk alongside people talking about what's happening to our culture, talking about what's happening in their lives, and also here's what I experienced. I've been there too. And you see somebody like Dave, who it's an implosion, bankruptcy. That's not most people. Most people are quietly living lives, as they say, of quiet desperation. They're slowly drowning. They're slowly running out of oxygen. It's just like a blanket is slowly being laid over them. And I didn't end up in rehab. I didn't burn my house to the ground. Right? I didn't cheat on my wife. But I just lived with this low-level hum of anxiety and depression. And I guess this is just the way this is. And I guess we just gain an extra 5 pounds every year. And I guess our intimate lives just slowly fade away. And my knees hurt and my back hurt. And that's most people, right? That's most of us just saying, well, this is just the way this is. This is just what, in this book, it's not just the way it is. It can be so much more. It's a book about hope, man. It's a book about you got to deal with what happened so that you can live a wild, reckless, joy-filled life.
Yeah, and so that is very important. Live like no one else so that you can live and give like no one else. And I'm really excited what Dave has done for people in their financial life, you're going to do for people in their relationships, their mental health, their emotional wellness, and I'm super pumped about this book. Some people have gotten advanced copies, some of our listeners, and they're going nuts about it.
Yeah, it's pretty
and
exciting
helping
response.
People already. And if you pre-order today, RamseySolutions.com, for just $20, you're going to get the audiobook version read by John himself, the ebook version, and on top of that, 1 month of free weekly therapy sessions from our friends at BetterHelp. That's a deal right there. That is a deal. I'm excited to dig in. I've been waiting for the audiobook, so I'm one of these guys that I listen on 1.25 speed while following along in the physical book, and I feel like I'm cheating the system.
I was told recently, somebody wrote into my show and said, you're the one podcast I have to listen to at 1x speed because you talk so fast.
Talk too fast.
And that made me happy.
They slowed you down in the audiobook so we could all understand.
That's right.
I love it. Well, pumped about this book. Go check it out. RamseySolutions.com. Own your past. Change your future. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Dr. John Deloney, to James, Kelly, Zach, everyone in the booth keeping the show afloat, and you, America, thank you so much for listening. We're going to be back with you before you know it.
Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to Ramsey Solutions.
3.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life, your money, your mental health, your relationships, and so much more. I'm Ramsey personality George Campbell, joined today by Dr. John Deloney. Some call it the Dream Team, some call it the Nightmare. You get to choose, America. This is your show. We're taking your calls, 888-825-5225. That is the number, 888-825-5225. Karen has decided to join us in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Karen, welcome to the show.
Hello, nice to talk to you guys.
You as well. How can John and I help?
Well, I'm 54. My husband's 58. We're in baby step number 2. My mom fell a couple years ago, and we moved into her house with her to help her. Ended up too much for us, so she went to assisted living. She's not doing very well. She will be passing here soon.
I'm so sorry.
The house is in my name, my brother, and my sister's name. Mom and Dad put it in our names decades ago.
Okay.
The house is paid off. Like I said, we live here. My brother and sister are expecting us to buy it because we live here and we have always rented. So that's why we were the ones that moved in with Mom when she got sick. The way the market is, my third would have been taken off of the house, so I would only pay 2/3 of what the fair market value is. But I'm trying to pay off debt. I don't know if I should take the money for the house and just pay the debt down and look for a house because we wouldn't have anywhere to live, or buy the house.
Okay. Couple of things here. First, exhale. Okay. Can you do just a big exhale? Yes.
Yeah.
So you've been living with your mom. Y'all made a family sacrifice. Yes, to the outside world, y'all had a benefit too. You didn't have to pay rent for a few years. Anybody who's done what you did knows that is not a dollar for dollar trade because you have been watching your mom slowly decline, and that takes your soul from you. Okay? So what you've been experiencing is hard, and now you're here up against the end, and you're about to go through grief and you know it, right? So there's all this stuff going on here. And one of the things we do when we find ourselves in a situation where we are out of control, we have no control over what happens next, is we start trying to grab for control. And what you're doing right now is you're creating narratives and problems to solve that aren't today problems. Those are next month problems. Right now, I want you to be focused on honoring your mom in her last few days, in her last few moments, and then we're going to move into, okay, let's sit down with brother and sister and say, here's my financial situation. Can we rent for 6 months before we save this up? Or what is your expectation? How quick do we have? Let's put this all in writing so that everybody's comfortable, and then we're going to make a plan to move forward. Okay? Is that fair? We'll walk you through the plan, the finances, but I want that to be, I know it's a pressing thing, but right now you're trying to figure out something to do with that energy. And that energy is best spent sitting there holding your mom's hand and just breathing heavy and saying, this sucks. I hate this. I'm going to miss you.
Yeah.
Okay. So with your brother and sister, the day after the funeral, are they going to say, where's our check? Where's our check?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
So do you have y'all are busting it through baby step 2, and George can walk you through all of the nuances there, how much do you make and all that. But ultimately, are you going to be able to afford to buy this house at some point soon?
Yes, we'll be able to make the payments. Yes, and still work the baby steps.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I believe so.
I'll turn over to George.
Yeah.
here.
So what's your household income?
90.
Okay. And how much debt are we
year.
talking?
About 60,000.
What kind of debt is it?
A truck and a camper.
Well, how do you feel about the truck and the camper? Could we get rid of them?
Yeah, exactly.
Could we be debt free by the end of this weekend?
Husband would never go for it.
For both, he wouldn't even get rid of one of them.
No.
Husband is willing to. The husband is willing to consider moving out of a house that you're going to walk into with 33% equity on day one because he just loves this big boy camper and his big boy truck.
Yeah, I guess I.
Did he play high school football?
Him.
Do what?
No.
No.
No, he didn't. He grew up really poor, and not that we're rich now, that's for sure, but.
Does he care about paying this stuff off?
Yeah, he does.
Why all of a sudden? Why at 58 does he care?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
first
wondering
of all, I found you guys
the urgency.
about 6 months ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And I I would.
If you sold them, would you have a net result there, positive? Is it worth more than the loans in this market?
I don't know. I guess.
So here's what I want you to do.
I think so. I think it probably would be. The camper's only a year old.
My buddy just sold his camper that was 4 or 5 years old, and he ended up getting more money than he bought it for 4 or 5 years ago. I would, if I was you, I would sit down and run the numbers through Kelley Blue Book, make a couple of phone calls, and just find out. If there's a chance that y'all could be debt-free today, which is going to allow you to go ahead and buy your mother's house and have a home, y'all can then have a 24-month plan to buy a fancy camper and a truck back, right? I mean, you're talking about this is a magic moment to flip the script.
How much money do you guys have in cash and savings in your accounts?
We have about $30,000 in the account right now.
And that's just in cash?
$30,000. Mm-hmm.
Why isn't that being applied towards the debt?
The husband doesn't want to touch it.
Okay. So he's not on board with the plan. He's on board with his plan.
Yeah.
What do you guys have in retirement?
I tried to talk to him about $300,000.
Okay. $300,000. Okay. Well, I want you guys to be set up.
That's another thing I'm worried
for the
future. I'm
future.
worried about paying the house off and.
What's this house going to be worth?
Yeah. I'm not sure. The taxes say $185 is the appraisal, but fair market value, God knows.
Could be
that's what my sister said she wants. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm getting rid of this debt ASAP, and I want you guys to get in this house. That seems to be your biggest goal.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem to be his biggest goal. And until it's y'all's goal collectively, none of this is going to happen. It's going to create relational issues, financial issues, and so we need a plan there, and then we need a plan with the siblings about what this is going to look like. What does this picture look like? How long do we have maybe to rent until we can actually save up enough to where this house isn't a burden, but it's a blessing?
So there's a real possibility with if you sit down and do the math and sit down and tell him, honey, I'm scared. I'm scared about losing my mama. Scared about us not having a house, and we're almost 60. We have a magic moment to clear this whole thing up. We're going to send you, I'm going to give you a year's subscription to Ramsey Plus to watch all the FPU videos, but you have to watch them with your old man, with your husband. Y'all do this together, and you can change everything starting right now.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000, all thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at BethelTech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's BethelTech.net/Ken Coleman.
You are listening to The Ramsey Show. In case you didn't know, I'm George Campbell, joined today by Dr. John Deloney, and we are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. May is joining us up next. She's in Raleigh, North Carolina. May, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. How are you doing today?
Great. How can we help?
So I have a question which is more not really baby steps because we are financially free.
Awesome.
Our incomes are, I make about 70 and he makes close to 70 also. So let's say 148 here.
Okay. Who's this he?
I'm a nurse. My partner.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm currently a nurse in an ICU and I want to go to anesthesia school. However, I cannot get over the idea of going to an Ivy League anesthesia school, which is such a hassle to go through because I went to undergrad for free. By merit, got scholarships all the way through, and then applied for some on the way. So I came out with zero debt.
Awesome.
Now, when I met him, he had some debt, so he cleared the debt so that we could, go forward and do stuff with our lives. But I'm at that point where I'm like, I really, really want to go to an Ivy League school. Because
you want to go to an Ivy League school?
Yeah,
So
for anesthesia.
May, I've spent my entire career working at universities. I even did a development program at Harvard. Okay, so I've been there. I love it. Tell me why you have that picture in your mind that you can't get out of your mind.
I think so. I came as an immigrant, and I think when I was coming in, I missed the opportunity to do that undergrad. And so, I kind of like made the grades so that when I do decide to go back to school for the graduate level, that I could be able to do that. But he is not buying the idea, and it's like, it's my secret desire.
Well, so tell me, what is your dream to be an extraordinary nurse, an anesthetist?
Yes.
Okay. And let's see, do you have plans to make your home and your family and to do life back in Raleigh?
Yes. I plan to stay in the North Carolina area.
Okay. If you told me I really want to be an anesthesia research scientist, I want to swan dive into the biochemical physiology of anesthesia. I want to know how the body responds. I want to be around the best scientists in the world. Then maybe, depending on the program, that type of capital outlay, paying that price would be worth it. What you want to be is a great nurse who sits with people who are scared, and you have a calming voice. I could tell that you're kind and you care about people. You want to go do good work on the lives of people. And so there are a whole bunch of relatively inexpensive, that's not true, they're expensive, but not as expensive, programs closer to your home. And here's the thing. As an immigrant to this country, you've been given a picture that is partially true. If you get this degree, it somehow completes you. It somehow proves that fill in the blank, that you should be here, that you've got value, that you're smart enough. And I want to tell you that's nonsense. Now, I'm also not going to be one of those guys that I see them on YouTube and whatever. Ivy League schools are stupid. They're not. There's a lot of real smart people there. I've sat with them. Brilliant people. Incredible resources. They're great. And I've also sat with some mind-bendingly extraordinary people at local community colleges, and especially at local state college and at private faith-based universities. I've sat with them all. And so depending on what you do and why you want to do it, that's how I'm going to decide if that's the school for me. And what you want to do is serve and love people. And so I want you to do that with no debt. There are some killer colleges, by the way, in the Raleigh, North Carolina, in the Research Triangle. You know that. They're great. You are worth getting through college and not having a bunch of debt, and you're worth getting a great education, and you can do that right where you are.
Okay. So even
Don't
if we
buy
have
into
money,
the myth.
We should not do it.
And by the way, your husband called in and asked me to tell you this. I'm just kidding. He didn't at all. I'm just kidding.
So, May, you're asking, if you have the cash, is it okay to do it?
Yeah, he wants us to buy a house. And I'm just like, but I really, really want to do this. And he's like, no, it's $50,000. We could pay for $50,000.
Well, a house is an appreciating asset. You're going to live in that house. It's an appreciating asset. That student loan is a piece of paper that no one's going to ask you about until you have to weave it into the conversation very naturally.
Well, and hey, here's the other thing. A graduate degree to become a nurse, anesthesiologist, I can even make an argument that that's an appreciating investment. Do it with cash.
And do it for the right reasons.
That's exactly right. Do it with cash. Here's the thing. If you sit down and say, hey, look, when I factor in what's going to cost to us to cash out our $140,000 a year jobs to move to Cambridge for 3 years for this program, and you can put that together in cash, I'm not going to be sad about it. But if you can keep your $140,000 a year jobs, and your current workplace will help pitch in for some tuition reimbursement to a college there in Raleigh, of which there are some great ones, and you're going to keep it going, do it. Just do it. You're worth more than an Ivy League certificate. You are freaking May from Raleigh, and you did it. And you're going to go make it happen.
Love it. Thanks for the call, May. Appreciate it. Deanna's up next in Tucson, Arizona. Deanna, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Great. How can we help?
Good. So my question today is my husband and I, we bought a house last June, and it's our first house that we bought. We started listening to the show back in January, and our house value has gone up almost about like $100,000. So we're wondering if we should sell our house to pay off our debt and just rent temporarily.
How much debt do you have?
We have we just paid off $2,000, so we have about $58,000 in debt. And it's student loan, credit card debt, personal loan, the whole 9 yards.
Okay. What's your household income?
We make about $125 a year together.
Okay, great. So what does your plan look like to get rid of this debt? How fast right now can you do it?
So right now, based on our calculations, it's going to take us, we're considering getting second jobs right now, but based on our just regular, it's going to take us about 4 years.
Okay. I'm getting the second job, and I'm going to get that cut down to 2 years. And if you can do that, I'm not selling the house.
Okay.
That's a big move. There's a lot of costs associated with it. You haven't been in there for 2 years, so there's going to be some capital gains tax. It's not as clean of a break as you think it is to just get rid of the debt and let's do this leapfrog shortcut. I'm not mad at selling a house to get out of debt and renting for a little while. I think that's very noble, and I love that sacrifice. But I think you guys can do this with $125,000 income and $58,000 in debt. We can clean this up in 2 years. And it may take getting a second job. It may take doing the monthly budget, really dialing that in, getting all of our expenses down to bare bones for a short period of time. Because here's the thing, 4 years, it's a long slog for you guys to sacrifice. 24 months?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do a second job for 24 months.
Hey, will you do me a favor? Take that nuclear energy that is currently pulsing in your chest, in your husband's chest, which is the regret and the, are we idiots? And I can't believe we did. Take that and don't run. Don't run from the problem. Go gazelle intense right into the middle of it, okay? Running from it is, okay, let's just sell our house and call it good and whew. Don't do that, because that's not solving the problem. That's a Band-Aid. You're not going to change your behavior. I want you to grind it out for 24 months and I want you to have a second job and probably a third hustle on the side of that, okay? And at the end of 24 months, you and your husband will never borrow money again. Your kids won't borrow money. Their kids won't borrow money because y'all have bled and y'all sweat and y'all have argued over budgets and what's important to your family. And now you've got this beautiful house worth a whole bunch of money that's all yours.
Great points there. The housing market is absolutely wild, and everyone's going, we should sell right now. But then you got to go buy at the top of the market or rent at the top of the market, and you're back to square one. So
Change your behavior.
Deal with
Change
the
your
behavior.
behaviors.
Good reminders there. This is The Ramsey Show. We're back with more of The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined today by Dr. John Deloney. A lot of stuff going on out there in the world, and inflation is probably on your mind. And with inflation comes more ways to get screwed, more ways to get scammed, and one of those now involves buy now, pay later. Here's an article, John, from Fox Business. Buy now, pay later, expanding to storefronts and gas pumps. That's right. So buy now, pay later has become increasingly popular in recent years, expected to reach $680 billion in transaction volume across the world by 2025. And as COVID has forced many consumers to shop online more, the use of buy now, pay later obviously began to rise.
So let's pay for let's pay next month for last month's trip.
That's what we're seeing. Buy now, pay later provider Zip, formerly QuadPay, has a partnership with Chevron, allowing drivers to pay for their gas in 4 installment payments over a 6-week span. Wow. This is scary, John.
Yeah, because you're still driving all those other times.
You're paying for gas that happened 3 weeks ago, but you filled up twice since then, and so you're paying for gas 2 weeks ago and a week ago, all to kick the can down the road.
We're going to build quad pay some huge, shiny new buildings.
Yep.
And their executives are going to be driving a bunch of fancy new Teslas because we find ourselves in this mess.
And Klarna and Affirm and Afterpay. I mean, the list of companies just keeps on growing, people who are getting in on this. And what's hilarious, John, not so hilarious, not so fun fact, another article from Fox Business says this: more than a quarter of consumers can't afford their buy now, pay later payments.
Of course not,
That's right.
It's not magic.
Debt Hammer survey found that 30% of respondents have struggled to make their buy now, pay later payments and have therefore had to skip paying a bill for essentials, utilities, rent, mortgage, car, to avoid defaulting. This is bad. If you can't pay for your four walls, but you're paying quad pay for your gas, you have a huge problem.
Man.
And here's what I found, John. Klarna brags on their website. This is hilarious. They brag to the retailers that consumers spend 45% more when you include a buy now, pay later service on your website.
That's right.
When under that $40 add to cart, it says 10 easy payments.
Right.
4 easy payments of $10 to pay for that $40 item.
It's a more subversive, predatory practice for people who are really desperate and struggling. And it's stealing from the least of these in our communities. And it's taking capital out of low-income communities. It's taking the hard – I mean, these people are working themselves to death in these hourly wage jobs, and these type of companies, they're like payday lenders, except now it's much more sophisticated and it's fancy, and you don't have to have the shame of driving into a payday lender place and walk in with your head held low and sign away. You just got to push the button.
When you mix all of this debt with convenient payment methods and effortless, I mean, that's literally Apple Pay's tagline, cashless made effortless.
Yeah.
They want it to be effortless.
Think less about what you're doing.
Feel it less.
Yes. It makes me ill because this is one of those things that is just preying on folks who are hurting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. I hate it. And it doesn't, hey, there's the thing. None of us do. We don't have magic solutions for the gas pump. We don't have magic solutions for inflation right now. I mean, that ship's out of the harbor right now. There's a couple of, you got to earn more or spend less or have some people in your life that are generous that can, right? There's some hard decisions we all got to make.
Yep.
But this is predatory.
But
and
paying
it's
quad
wrong.
pay before your light bill, that's not okay.
Don't do that.
Find margin in your budget. I don't care what it takes. Stay away from these predatory lenders. Even though they're shiny and they tell you that they want to create financial freedom, quote unquote, for everyone, that's what they're using. They're using language like we would use.
Right.
Create breathing room in your budget.
If you are a person of means, if you're not a person stuck on the margins who's struggling, refuse to use these services because they're making their money on the backs of people who are broke and who are hurting and who are left aside. Don't support this crap. I'm not going to get it pisses me off, man, because it's those like I can go do this and I'll pay the bill next month and I'll go, wow, that's expensive, and I'll pay the bill the month after that. They're not going to make any money off me. They're going to make money off those who can't. So let's don't support this thing and it will implode on itself. And I hate it.
These younger generations are the ones falling for it. And they see it like, well, it's better than a credit card.
Yeah.
Buy now, pay later. It's better than a credit card. I mean, I'm making my payments.
It's a more predatory credit card, I think.
Yeah.
Golly. Dude.
Don't do it, people. Avoid buy now, pay later at all costs.
And hey, let me say this. If your company is based on stealing from hurting people, stop. That's it.
I hope that worked. I hope Afterpay goes, hey, John, we heard you on the Ramsey Show.
Didn't.
We're shutting it down.
And not their seniors, because they're tied in. Somebody riding to work is going to get a clip, and they're going to know what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
They're going to know what they're doing is wrong. And they're going to say, hey, at least I can't be a part of this. Right?
Yeah. Go check out the fine print episode on Buy Now, Pay Later that we did. It was eye-opening. We shared some stories. We talked to experts. Go check it out. It's called Affirm Klarna Afterpay. Should you buy now, pay later? Taha joins us in Birmingham. Taha, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
Great. How can we help?
Actually, I wrote down some notes.
Ooh, very
Let me
prepared.
Go ahead and grab them.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, as a guy who's rarely prepared for anything, I really appreciate somebody who's prepared.
Thank you. So I'm currently in high school. I'm 17 years old, And I've always been a business guy. I always have business in my mind 24/7, honestly.
Okay. What's your question?
And so a lot of people actually around me keep telling me that this is almost like a unhealthy obsession. And I just wanted to know what you think about that.
If you are thinking about business 24/7, 365, and you're not spending time with your loved ones, and you're not having fun, and you're not out working, and you're not working at a job where you've got purpose, then I think they are correct. It sounds like you're distracting yourself from something. Now, that's
I
different.
do actually have a job right now.
Okay. Do you have joy in your life?
Sure.
Describe it to me.
Well, it's more like, since I'm still in school, I don't really have a lot of options.
Okay.
So it's more like I don't really mind what I'm doing, but I feel like after I actually become an adult, I'll be able to do things that I enjoy.
Okay. One of the most common myths that I've spent my whole career sitting behind closed doors with leaders when the wheels have fallen off. And one of the most common myths is when I get X dollar amount, when I get X job title, when I get to be the head of X company, then I'm going to have a blast. Then I'll start fill in the blank. And that's simply false. It's not true. Now, I don't want to discourage you. I was single-minded about getting my PhD in education. That's all I thought about. That's all I read. That's all I did. I was a lunatic about it. And I worked in that field. And then when I was into counseling, dude, it's all I do. It's all I read. It's all I think about. It's the podcast I consume. It's my friends, right? So I don't want to discourage your passion and you going all in. But I do have to make time for relationships and community and friends. I have to make time for laughter. I have to make time for exercise and eating right and going to bed. Right? And what I would tell you at 17, so here, let me give you this analogy. Some friends of mine, I've spent most of my career in universities, and I've made close friends with the trainers, the physical trainers for the athletic teams. And one of the things they told me over the last 5 to 15 years is they've seen a shift in the athletes coming in. And these are 18 and 19 and 20-year-old athletes that have joint disorders that are common in the elderly. Because since the age of 5, they've been a pitcher. And they've gone to pitching camps, and they've gotten pitching coaches, and they don't play basketball, they don't kick soccer balls, they don't run around. They pitch, and they pitch, and they pitch. And by the time they're 19, their shoulders are completely blown out. So why do I tell you that? Some of the great physiologists are now saying, hey, don't let your kid just play one sport all the way through. Make them play soccer too. Make them take jiu-jitsu. Make them go to wrestling. Make them play the violin, right? Do these other things. So I want you to be focused on business, and I want you to read fiction. I want you to go to a movie and see how your business looks in a script, like in an actual relationship. I want you to have friends. I want you to go laugh and enjoy your life. You have plenty of time to get that job and to make a bunch of money and make a business, but make sure you live and breathe too.
So now we still have our granddaughter.
Do y'all have, do y'all have full custody?
Yes, okay. Yes, we do.
Okay, all right.
So we are flipping to a blank page and I want to know how to plan properly for her, because we will be in our 70s when she graduates from high school. If we're still living, I hope we are, but it changes the game plan, I guess, for me. And we feel like we're not on such of an emotional roller coaster anymore. My husband and I are on the same page, but the retirement doesn't look the same as what we had anticipated. So any advice?
Yes. Okay, so the first thing that's important for you and your husband to do, okay, is going to sound counterintuitive, but and you may have already done this, but I want you to go away for a weekend. I want you to have one of your other kids or a babysitter keep your 4-year-old now. And I want y'all to grieve what was. Y'all had a picture of retirement. You've been working really hard. Clearly some things you and I could talk for an hour and you could tell me what the whole backstory here. But I want you to grieve what is going to be different now. We were gonna get a lake house. We were gonna travel. We were gonna fill in the blank. And now we might do some of that, but it's gonna look different because we're raising our granddaughter. We have another kid in the house. And here's why that's important. If you don't, the tendency is to roll this fatigue and the natural, oh, what about this? And it's gonna roll into resentment. And this little 4-year-old does not deserve that. This little 4-year-old's been through a lot. And this isn't something you're going to do on purpose. This is just going to be you trying to get to the next day and the next day, the next day. And when you tell your body, when you sit down and grieve something and you say, we wanted it to be like this and it's not, then your body goes, oh, you're driving. Cool. And now we can start making plans for what is this going to look like for us. Okay? So I want y'all to own it. And I want you to be mad at your kid. You can be frustrated at the situation. Get all of those feelings and put them on the table. They're all real, and they all have biochemical responses to them. Cortisol and adrenaline, all kind of stuff. And then you can be about, here's what comes next. What are we going to do next? And we're not going to try to reclaim what was. We're not going to try to patchwork this thing together. You and your husband are going to create a whole new picture of what life's going to look like now. And by the way, my mom is 72. She's a gangster. She's a college professor. She's hilarious. She flies all over the world. My dad is 71. He's just finished being a cop, and now he's a college professor. He's goofy. Like, you're going to be great, okay? You're going to be great. Think of this as an adventure, and how can we inject joy into this situation? Not, well, it's just going to not be what it was. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know that's hard. That's why I want you to go grieve this thing. I want you to go grieve it and sit in it and let this go. Ugh. And then you've got the financial part that George can walk you through. Here's how to set this thing up financially. It's going to be important that you get some women in your life who are 10 or 15 years younger than you that have young kids that will let your new child go on adventures with them and go visit with them and all these things, right? So you're going to have to just get some help, and you're going to have to get some support, and you're going to have to be honest. Hey, I'm tired and I need a break this weekend. I need one of my other kids to step up, or a friend or a babysitter. You're just going to have to do it differently, and you're going to have to be honest about your limitations, and you're just going to have to be intentional about it. Does that sound like a lot? I hear you getting quiet.
A lot to
I'm just
process.
replaying the last 4 years.
I know.
Are you guys doing okay on the financial side, retirement? Do you have the money to raise her and also take care of yourselves?
We have all of that. I mean, we are solid Ramsey people, I guess you could say.
So,
and
is this little
Go
one,
ahead.
is she your son's child, daughter's child?
Daughters.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I may be way off, but often when I have this conversation, part of the angst, part of the heaviness is that somehow you think you screwed something up. That if you had...
Oh, yeah. We've been all over that.
I know
yeah.
you have. And you got to set that brick down, stop carrying it. What you have done is you've saved a little girl's life. And you're giving this little girl an opportunity to be with family and to have a wild, fun adventure with two wise people who might not be able to get in the go-karts, but we can take you and your friends there, right? Our hips and knees can't handle it, but, right? And you got to set the bricks of what did we do wrong down, okay? And you got to be about living.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is I'm going to speak for me because my husband's not here. I still hold a lot of anger about the entire situation.
I know. And that's why I want y'all to go get it out. Go sit, and not get it out, but go grieve it, right? Go own it. Go sit with it. Otherwise, it will eat you alive, and it will end up in the heart of that little girl. Okay?
Right. And I don't want that at all.
I know. Yeah. Can I tell you she's lucky to have you? She's so lucky to have you. Do we draw it up this way? No. But this little girl won the lottery with you and your husband. Y'all have been planning y'all have been living Dave's principles for not if, but when things go sideways. Things went sideways, and thank God y'all had been living this path for a moment just like this. This is why we do it, right? This is why we do it.
That's why we do it.
Stacey, the fact that you
So
guys
I guess
well, the fact that you follow these principles and you get to provide this kind of life for her, I mean, that's going to be a special thing. And I know right now it's hard to see that future, but I'm cheering you on as you guys continue this journey, and you get to have a really cool story. And it's not the one you chose, but it's the one you get to live. And I'm personally excited for all the upside here. I mean, thinking about having my amazing grandmother, who still just celebrated her 90th birthday. We went to Boston, and I love her to pieces. And to be able to live with her and live that life with her, be raised by her, that's something really special.
Yeah. And so you're going to start at 529, right? You're going to start saving for college. You're going to go back to following the principles here. You're going to make sure that this little girl's got, the 4 walls. Y'all got to get that taken care of. We're going to do all the stuff that you normally would do. It just happens to be with a 4-year-old now, right?
Right.
And a lot of this is just creating a new picture.
So do we slow down on our? Because, I mean, I've got it.
I wouldn't. You're 2 years away.
Right now.
You're 2 years away. I wouldn't, because not having a house payment at, how old are you now?
I'm 57.
Yeah, not having a house payment before you're 60 is going to allow you to cash flow a lot of this stuff on the back end. You're fine. That's what I would do. I'd finish the plan. You're almost there. You're almost there.
Okay.
I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful that people like you and hearts like you and your husbands exist in our communities to take care of the little ones that run into messes that they didn't start. So grateful for you. It's going to be a wild adventure.
Yeah,
it's
you call
on.
us back if you need anything, Stacey. We are here for you. Appreciate the call. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to John Deloney, my co-host, all the folks in the booth, and you, America. We'll be back with you before you know it. But in the meantime, make sure you're spending wisely, saving intentionally, and giving generously.
Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show.